right, so we have a very, very special guest today. Crip Mac's mom, Mama Bear, I believe is what he calls you. How are you doing?
That's right, Mama Bear. I'm doing fantastic. Just rode my motorcycle over here to spend some time with you after a couple weeks of communicating and deciding to do this interview. But it's a great day to have a great day. Great day to have a great day.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get right into it. Let's get to know you a little bit,
Okay.
and where you grew up and what it was like for you.
All right. Well, I was born in Houston, Texas. My parents separated when I was 14 months of age. And my sister and myself, we went to Pacoima. My mom moved us to California. And I grew up, Southern California, just 100% Black Valley girl, that kind of situation. And it was a great upbringing, Magic Mountain, all the beaches and mountains, Big Bear, great Christmases. Came from a very, very stable family at the core of it. Even though my parents were separated, my mom was with a very, very healthy man in our life, and it was a good time. Then we moved out to Carson and Torrance. Went to Stephen White Junior High School. Shout out Stephen White. And I was there from, I think, like 85 to 87, something like that. So I went from there to the Inland Empire. My mom heard about this fantastic place called Ontario, California. Didn't know there were going to be cows there, y'all. We showed up, and I could just smell the manure. And just the smell of the cows and Chino. And, well, that's where we landed. And my mom was in another marriage that wasn't as healthy as the one prior. So, I dealt with some toxic parenting and step parents and abuse of sorts. And, but I overcame those, and I cheerleaded in high school. I was sent to Europe to perform and to get my education. So, it's been a lot of great adventures growing up. Then boom, I have CMAC, 1993, and my life just changed completely.
Okay, were you already graduated from high school at this time?
Absolutely. Well, I went to Hastings in Houston, Texas, and I did some of the extra classes. I graduated a little bit before my graduating class because I went ahead and went with the GED and graduated earlier, or an early diploma, I guess you can say.
Okay, so you graduate, and not long after that you have CMAC?
Absolutely. With a guy that I went to high school with, a guy that we weren't dating in high school, but after high school we connected, and for whatever healthy or unhealthy reason, we were brought together one night magically. CMAC had been spawned. I shouldn't have said it that way, but whatever. The spawn of CMAC. He's an amazing guy. I'm so grateful for him.
Okay, and where were you living when this happened?
Rancho Cucamonga. Yeah, right out here, Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay, and at one point you guys moved to LA?
Well, then I moved to Texas. I take him with me, and he decides he wants to come back to California. So he gets on a Greyhound and he heads out. And he goes and checks out the hoods, and he's already, equipped with the communication. I think it was during MySpace, y'all. I think MySpace was big, and he was communicating with some people from the hood, and he really liked it, and he was wanting to pursue that. And it's like, I couldn't keep him from doing it. And I remember all I wanted for him, and I wished for him, was for him to join the military, because I knew how stubborn he was, and I knew how driven he could be. I mean, you see him feeding the homeless, spending his time and his money sleeping on an air mattress when he's making so much money, but he's giving it away. That's some powerful stuff.
Yeah, for real. You mentioned the military.
Yes.
He told me you sent him to military school.
He was sent to military school. Yes. He was out of control. We were living in Chino, and a lady in our complex said her son was having behavioral issues. And I identified with a lot of what she was saying. And I said, by God, I think that's Trevor. Little Trevor Hurd. That's his name. Everybody needs to know. Little Trevor needs help. And there's a school that's designed for that and for discipline. I mean, this kid was jumping out of the window, at 6 and 7 years of age, to go out and explore and come back. And I just we had to lock the windows, and I'm sure he felt like incarcerated, and I know that feeling. But he definitely needed some guidance. So we put him in military school, and they did drills, they did academics, they did PT. He was up early in the morning, and he was disciplined for about 14 months.
So he was there 14 months? Do you
Yes.
know what age he was from?
I want to say roughly 7 to 9.
Oh, young.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then at that point, that's when he moved to Texas. So I'm sorry, we did skip this point, and it is important. You know, he went to Newman Elementary School, and I would receive tons of calls daily. Just, you know, your son, he's not doing what, you know, we're asking him to do. He's doing just the opposite. So it's not that he's just not doing it. He's going to do the opposite. And that's oppositional defiance. That was a term that I learned very young on, and that he possibly had some, you know, emotional issues and stuff like that. So we tried to address that. We threw Ritalin at him. We threw Thoridazine, everything to try to get him regulated. So, and me being a young mom, that was very, very challenging. Very challenging on me.
So the military school didn't help him at all?
He got kicked out of military school. Kicked out of military school. They said, I'm sorry, we don't have anything else that we can offer your son at this time. You know, his behavior is just too drastic. And I don't know where to point the finger or call the blame. I mean, you can go, is it a chemical thing? Is it hereditary? Is it lack of his father being there because he decided to walk out when he was 2 years old? I mean, but with all that being said, the bottom line was he needed help. He needed something, and it was something I wasn't able to give him. You know, he's got cousins. He's got cousins and family members who are members, you know, of subsequent gangs. And one that you may not know, he's got 2 Hoover cousins who he loves very much so. Imagine that, right?
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I believe you had mentioned that he had a lot of love for music and movies growing up.
Oh yeah. Men in Black. Oh, I couldn't keep that song off. He knew the choreography for it. He said, "Mom, I wanted to be an actor like Will Smith." That's somebody that he really admired. And I think he commented on the slap with with Chris Rock, his opinion of it. But he stuck, you know, his loyalty was with Will Smith and acting and being an entertainer. I think that's what we see him mostly as an entertainer. You know, I run into people who, when I wear his merchandise and stuff, they know the little catchphrases. You know, just like, everything's going to see all right. You know, I put this on, they go, "Oh, that's that nigga C-Mac," you know, and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm Mama Bear." "No way, you're Mama Bear." Absolutely. "Oh, he's just doing so great, and we're backing him up, and we want to see this guy succeed." So much of the negative that you hear and read is outweighed by this positivity that people have for him and the love for him. I remember hearing stuff from Bloods and Hoover Street, you know, and they were positive things. And I was like, wow, is this a beginning of change? You know, but then it brings that into focus.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned he has cousins.
Yep, cousins.
Who were involved in gangs. Do you think,
Yeah.
Is that what, like, kind of inspired him, you think? Or was he it's just something you think he just wanted to do?
No, he was definitely influenced by that. He always wanted to be the tough guy. He wanted to be the tallest, the biggest, you know, he wants to go hard. That's his thing. He's like, everything's intense. They would fight, you know, he would lose some, he would win some. Now, ironically, he's the biggest out of all of them. You know, he loves his cousin Knuckles. That's Jordan. Shout out to you. You know, it's just, you know, he grew into that whole tough man persona, and he created this character of C-Mac. It's just another portion of Trevor. It's just another facet of him. Whether you can call it schizophrenia or any type of multi-personality thing, it's working in his favor because he's very true to it. He's very true to 55th Street and that whole persona.
How did you feel when you found out he was like an actual gang member?
Oh, I don't even remember the time that it dawned on me. But, you know, just getting all the calls from jail and stuff, I'm like, this is not what happens to a normal person who's doing normal things, 9 to 5 type things. So I figured he really was deep in the culture. I didn't know how deep. I didn't know about the different areas. I mean, I lived pretty much sheltered.
So you grew up having nothing to do and no knowledge about gangs or anything.
No, I mean, I could say that's not true. I did have a little gang friend in junior high school. He was a schoolyard Crip, and I remember hearing about YA, you know, about him going to the California Youth Authorities and So I knew a little bit about it. I knew DJ Quick was the best blood I've ever heard on radio. And I am a big time DJ Quick fan. And C-Mac's supposed to be doing something with DJ Quick. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Okay,
you know.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I know, right?
Okay, so you find out that he's in the streets.
Yes, he's in the streets.
And now he's in and out of jail. And now I'm sure by now you're probably pretty worried about him.
I am. I'm praying and praying that I would always tell him, honey, please join the military or something. And it's kind of a shame to admit that I would tell people when they asked about my son, because I was ashamed of the whole gang culture, that he's in the military or he's doing something. And I was hoping to speak that into existence. And, somebody said on one of his channels that he would have been a hell of a Marine. Mm. He's got that go hard mentality and 100% committed, but maybe he's put here for some other reason, Yeah. He's like a Renaissance man. I think somebody said that on No Jumper, that he's a Renaissance man. Shout out to Adam.
How did you feel when he kind of started to become famous and everything?
It didn't dawn on me and Granny Bear. Shout out Granny Bear. We still to this day, we don't see the enormity. She wears a lot of his shirts too. Like I have the Free the Maxit shirt. She'll be out in public and she'll have this on and somebody will be like, oh man, we know about that guy. She goes, that's my grandson. And, she's just so proud. Yeah, Granny's a supporter. She's got some videos out with him too, if you check his page. And they're out and about, driving in the car, talking and laughing. There's even one out there with him singing. He's singing a gospel song. And that's a really touching moment.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you need to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, you mentioned he has 2 cousins from Hoover.
Yes.
Now, he has been known, we got into the forehead tattoo, which we'll kind of get into a little bit later.
I know.
But having 2 cousins from Hoover, and you said that he loves them.
Yes.
Then it doesn't affect him at all.
Yeah.
How does that dynamic work, like at a family function?
Well, they're distant cousins, obviously, because of that. And it's just, unfortunately, the family's fractured on that part. We have everybody everywhere. They're all so separate. Everyone's living their own separate lives. But I pray that, he can get together with them. And I just don't even know how that would look. But we've all been living separate lives. Nobody's really been like cousins coming over every other weekend. We've all been in different parts of the country. So
you feel like that the tattoo and all the Hoover hate kind of do we want to talk about this?
I hate it so much, you guys. You have no idea. When I saw him walk in with that tattoo, my heart broke. I thought to myself, this is it. This is the end of him. He's doing something so intense, something so major that can't be. It's permanent.
Yeah. He didn't give you no warning or nothing. He just walked right in with it.
And I feared for his life every day. And I still have a bit of that too, but he could fear for my life. I'm on a motorcycle almost every day. We all have our destiny and we've accepted that. But it's just so scary to know that he's walking around with, that's that much anger. Whatever perpetuated that, that's what he needs to get to the core of. And I pray that he can. But until then, I support my son 100%.
Yeah, it was.
I'll never stop supporting my son, ever. 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 5 ever. On Hood.
Yeah, we've talked about the tattoo before.
Yeah.
On my show. We've talked about how it being, a pretty deadly commitment to have on his forehead.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's something you worry about a lot. And, it's kind of on your mind. What'd you say to him when he first walked through the door?
What the fuck were you thinking? What is that shit? Mom, I got this. This is how I feel. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm about. Well, honey, I'm real disappointed. And I think I left and I spent some time with my best friend and I cried a little and I said, damn, doesn't he understand the grandiosity of this? And why isn't he getting it? And then I finally had to come to acceptance. And I don't care what anyone says. My form of acceptance may look different than the next person's. And that's just letting him live his life. And God's going to fade that little by little. And there's concealer. There's stuff to lighten it up. There's processes if he decides to go that route. But I just want to be a grandma. He just needs to hurry up and give me a child that I can play with and send back.
You leave and you don't talk to Crip Mac for a little while over the tattoo. What do you say to him when you actually sit down and have a conversation with him?
I don't even know what to say, son. You know how I feel about it, but I don't love you any less. And we're going to get through whatever it is that caused you to do that. We're going to get through it together. He said, thank you, Mom. I love you. And I said, I love you too, son.
Yeah. Man. Well, you're strong. You know?
Gotta be. Raising as a single mom, raising this man who's turned out to be like this Renaissance presence is really demanding. Whew. I want to make him proud. It's almost like reversed, situations, with my voiceovers and working and paying off my debts and having a fantastic credit score and all this kind of stuff that I celebrate, my investments and retirement. I mean, I'll be 50 in December. So, I'm coming into that age where it's, I'm ready to travel and, and just hit the road on my motorcycle and go across country. And I know he's okay. He's just a phone call away.
Yeah, that would be cool. On your motorcycle traveling.
Oh yeah. Wish I could get his scary ass on one. Shoot, that'd be so cool. Who knows? Who knows what God has in plan? Who knows what's in the works?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Crip Mac, he gets on No Jumper.
Right.
Well, he was kind of blowing up before then.
Yeah, he was. He was doing really well. He
gets on No Jumper, and he really takes off. I think that's where I've initially kind of seen him.
Right.
Taking off. I reached out to him not too long after he was on No Jumper. Brought him on my show, and the numbers were crazy. The people really liked him. Now, how are you feeling after you're seeing all this? You know what I'm saying? This is like, he's just becoming like bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Every day when I got home, I'll turn on YouTube and put in C-Mac to look. But it was already up there, and I'll see all the videos, and it's just like being there with him. I'm in Vegas, and he's in Los Angeles, but I felt just that connection because 2 minutes later, I could be on the phone like, hey, babe, how you doing? And that's my baby. That's my son, I'm talking to. But I'm looking at him up on the big screen and just admiring all the efforts and stuff that he does out and feeding the homeless and being really dedicated and getting up and programming every morning. That's pretty, wow.
Yeah, he had the cat, he had the exercises, and the tattoo.
Exactly. Sounds like an album cover on those three things.
I think it was kind of shocking for people to see this big dude with this, tattoo on his forehead, but he's actually out there feeding the homeless, and he's like having a cat.
And a cat.
It was kind of like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
That should tell people that there's an interesting balance about C-Mac. He's multifaceted. The Renaissance. I mean, I can't get over that was mentioned on No Jumper when they did the jail call from, when he's incarcerated to the show. And somebody mentioned he is the Renaissance man of our time. And that's just, that's a remarkable compliment.
Not too long ago, there are, all of a sudden, I'm starting to see this, old Facebook posts that are coming up. And I'm seeing these headlines and they're like, Crip Mac dissed the neighborhood Crips and, Crip Mac dissed all these gangs and everything. And when I first seen it, I was like, oh yeah, this is fake news. I was like, this is fake, and then, then I see, Crip Mac addressing it in a video, kind of confirming everything, and I was just like, okay, surprised, kind of like, okay, what's going on?
I remember that.
What was your initial thought when all that started happening?
Okay, one of the girls who claimed to be pregnant with his child called me and said, hey, you need to check C-Mac's live And I was like, okay, let me finish what I'm doing and I'll catch up and check it. So I waited about 2 minutes. I was putting some dishes away, went on live, and I saw him all beat up. And I saw blood, and I saw he was swollen. And the little baby eyes that I just remember seeing as a child were shut almost. And, he looked like he was crying out for his mommy. And I'm like, let me make the attempt to try to call him right now. I called, Lupe answered. I guess he said he didn't want to talk to me initially. Then he finally said, put her through. And all I could say is, honey, what happened? He explained to me, Mom, I did some goofy shit back in the day. I false claimed, I talked bad about it, and it's all coming back. I said, from 10 years ago? That upset me. And I said, well, a DP, isn't that when you get jumped out of a gang? And so I asked him, I said, you're no longer, part of the gang, are you? He goes, no, yeah, I'm still blah, blah, blah. And part of my heart sunk because I was like, maybe he exited. Maybe he saw that, this isn't what God wanted him to do. But, thanks to his wonderful friend Milk, he was outed about some old posts and he got his ass beat. And he took it like a man. But every time I see that one clip that everybody watches, when he's on his knee and he's coming up and he's just begging, pretty much to end it, but still continuing to say, come on, cuz, let's go. That I struggled with that a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure that was rough. I watched the clip where you were talking to him.
Yeah, I just told him go somewhere and rest.
I think you said your heart hurt.
Yeah, I said Mommy's heart hurts right now. Yeah. But he sent me $100. Woo! On 55 Crip. I'm not affiliated. Okay, that's on the record. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that was pretty rough for you then.
I hadn't been so emotional since forever. That was probably the most I've ever been.
Yeah.
In my feelings for my son. It just, somebody hurt my baby so bad.
Yeah. Going through all this, these ups and downs and, the tattoos and the DPs, man, for the people who are watching, what kind of impact has it had family-wise on you guys?
We've come together more. Naturally, we have some distant relatives who, do their own thing. We have, just like any family, we have our degree of drug addiction and mental illness and a combination of, other illnesses that make it difficult for us to connect sometimes. And in our family, we're no exception. My mom and I are probably the closest, and my niece. Shout out to Tyler. Just remarkable coming together for him, always being available for him, for the times that we weren't there and we didn't know what he was struggling with. Being on the street and having mental illness cannot be easy. And to make a video stating he has mental illness and how he really wants the help, but he's just so afraid of the medication. Like I said, when he was younger, they had him on so many medications. They had medications for him to go to sleep, for him to wake up, for him to be stabilized, for him to, it was hard for me to keep up with all of that. He would be drinking my Old English out of the refrigerator, and then he's on these medications too. Who knows? I mean, it's like, oh my God, did I do that? Was it something that I did? There's so much, I don't want to say guilt, but concern about what impacted him in his younger days. That I really, I wish I could put my finger on it to make it better. Not just to know about it, but just to do something different, to move differently. Yeah, to move differently.
Yeah, wow. That's deep.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Yes, sir.
Well, you mentioned Crip Mac's dad walking out when he was 2.
Yeah.
And how did that impact you guys?
Well, I was told that his brother said that if he were to stay with the baby, C-Mac, and myself, that we would be terribly poor and that he might as well just move on. And so that's what he did. He took his brother's advice and he did that. And I'm sure he figured he made a mistake. He had to. This is such a wonderful child, and having that void, I had to work double time. I had to, working 2 and 3 jobs. I'm not a stranger to that because I had to make his income, my income, plus extra income so we can live, a really nice life. No rats, no roaches, no nothing like that. Got assistance when I needed it, Thank God we're in America. We can get, the food stamps and the Medicaid and all the stuff to help us out when we're having a hard time. But right now, I mean, I'm living my best life. Like I said, I'm an empty nester. I love it. But all that needed to happen. His father needed to do what he needed to do. And we don't hate him.
Do you guys have any contact with his dad? Is he reached back out or anything?
I have spoken to him. I think when he was 14 or 15, he came out to Orange County when he was living in Texas. And he spent some time with them. So he knows them on an adult level, almost an adult level. But as far as him becoming famous, we haven't heard a word. He talks to some of the relatives on their side. They're Belizean and Samoan over there, and Samoan and Black, and we're Creole over here. So it's like two different cultures, two different upbringings. Our family sticks together.
How'd you feel when you seen the fake Crip Mac dad come out?
Oh my God. Oh. I was like, oh my God, why does he kind of look like him? But he doesn't. He looks like C-Mac, but he doesn't look like C-Mac's dad. That's the difference. He looks nothing like C-Mac's father because he's a big, tall, like 6'4", dark skin, very, very handsome man. And this guy looks like, I don't know, Creole or something, or Hawaiian. I'm not sure what he is. But his name is Stacy, and I've had conversations with him, and he realizes that he's not his father, and he's saying he's doing it for, the clout and the notoriety, and he's getting it. He's getting the exposure. So more power to him. I don't hate him. Like I said, I've had several conversations with him, and it's been very pleasant. But no, he's not C-Mac's dad. I've never met him in my life. Shout out Stacy. He's all about his money. You all about your money, Stacy. I know.
That was crazy when when I first seen it, I was like, oh, Crip Mac's dad.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know no difference. Then I found out,
Yeah, he specifically told me, a guy told him he looked like him, and he was like, man, and he just ran with it. He ran with it. And, if you notice, he never says, I am Crip Mac's dad. It's just the title of it is Crip Mac's dad. So he's really careful. He doesn't say my son. You never hear him, and I have respect for that, and he respects me, and that's all that matters.
Well, they have all those lookalikes now. They got like the Little Dirk lookalike.
I know!
The Drake lookalike. and the Crip Mac lookalike.
Doppelgangers.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say that. Doppelgangers. But yeah, he's a dead ringer for an older C-Mac, and, the statue and stuff, the way he's built. Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Okay, well, I think we touched on the community stuff quite a bit. Is there anything else you want to add about the community stuff?
Well, we're going to be feeding the homeless. Lupe is going to be coming out with me. I'm probably going to have ODM Slim to hang out and do some stuff with us. Granny Bear, I'm definitely inviting you to come on out. We're probably going to be doing it in a couple weeks. I'm thinking C-Mac wants to do lasagna and stuff like that, and drinks and some Old English. I promise I'll get like 12 of those for him to give out, and we're going to go out for about an hour, and we're going to have it, it's going to be, videotaped, and so
that's what's
we're
up.
definitely just going to carry on where he left off until he gets back, because this is what everybody remembers. They remember this C-Mac and the Popeyes chicken.
The Popeyes chicken.
One of my favorite ones. I wear it so much, you guys. I'm sorry it's wrinkled. I'm not... Okay, I'm not Betty Crocker or, any kind of like homekeeper. But I wear these shirts quite often just to,
I think is there another shirt over there you wanted to show him?
Oh, the Mac Stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed this one earlier. But these are all on his website. And all the proceeds go to him, and then stuff to feed the homeless. All to Coach Warren. So if anybody wants to get merchandise, we have it on the, the screen for you or whatever, however you do it. So there you go. Boom.
Yeah. Well, I just interviewed C-Mac a few days ago.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if he told you or not.
No.
But yeah, we did a quick little phone interview that should be coming out.
Nobody told me. Okay.
So that'll be pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, just thank you so much for having me come on. I've been watching your show for a while. I really like it.
Oh, wow.
Like it's really mellow. You're so mellow, Cam. He's so mellow. Get heisty.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more laid back.
Well, just another reason to come out in this beautiful weather on my bike. So, there you go.
Yes, she pulled up in a motorcycle.
My
It was
Harley.
like-
Everybody knows. Represent Harley. Harley Street Bob. It's my baby.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you
Thank you so much.
sharing your story, your Crip Mac story. It's
Yeah, that's parts of it.
you know, pretty crazy, pretty wild,
Pretty
man.
emotional at times too. So beware. Get your Kleenex because things can get hard before they get better.
Yes, well, yes, and free C Mac.
Free the Mac Sitch.
Hopefully he's not gone too long. I
Nope.
think he said January.
January. And
Should be
think
back.
about it. His liver is like in heaven right now. His liver is like regenerating new cells and getting fresh. And, he acknowledged that too. He says, yeah, Mom, I lost my belly. I'm feeling healthy. I said, God is good. God is good.
Speaking of food, where did his love for Popeye's chicken come from?
He got that in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Texas thing. That and crawfish, y'all. He won't tell you that part. We love some crawfish. Crawfish.
That's what's up.
Yes.
That's what's up. Well, I appreciate you
Appreciate
taking the
you.
time, man. It's always dope having Crip Mac on my show. He always has a good take on everything. The fans seem to love him.
They do.
And I appreciate you taking
Thank you
the time,
so much.
sharing your story.
Oh, bring it in.
Dang it.
Woo! Yeah.
All right.
On hood.
Thank you.